Fast drafting my work in progress, day 19. It's another good work day, and JT and I just got back from a nice walk out at the Carson River where it was an absolutely beautiful day. So I will pop in a picture here of what I saw. There were a couple of very nice shots out there, a lot of blue sky. It's still a tiny bit chilly, but not terribly bad. It's in the upper 60s, so it was a very good day to be out enjoying nature. And today is the day when I admit my dirty little secret that I have not gotten back to fast drafting my work in progress. I am considering today day 19 of this challenge to myself, but since I returned from editing Restless Spirits Book 2 and adding that little bit of extra to the beginning of Battleborn Bride, I've actually been rereading the book and revising as I go, just very light revision, because I need to get myself back on track. Turns out that switching from one manuscript to the other was a little more difficult than I expected. The narrative in the two books is so different that I couldn't just jump back into Battleborn Bride without refreshing my memory. And I decided that while I was doing that, I would do a little bit of smoothing along the way. So that is one of the reasons that I have not been keeping track of my word count, because it hasn't really changed much. I haven't added many more words to this manuscript. However, the reason I am continuing to consider this my fast drafting process is that I'm not doing the heavy revisions that I have done in the past, even though I have backslid into an old habit. And I will be getting back into fast drafting as soon as I catch up to where I left off. So I thought I would be perfectly honest here, because when I look back on this, I want to remember what exactly happened during the process. And also I want to be transparent in case anyone else is trying this for the first time and you're having a challenge. You're not alone, because old habits die hard. So I am technically not fast drafting Battleborn Bride at this second, even though I'm considering this day 19 of fast drafting my work in progress. I think, based on how quickly I'm getting through this, I should be back to fast drafting by Sunday, I hope. So tomorrow's Friday, and I think by Sunday, maybe Monday at the latest, I should be back to fast drafting, which will be good because Restless Spirits Book 2 is about to come back to me a week from tomorrow. I may have overextended myself just a touch with this project, or these two projects back to back like this. But I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to stick as close as possible to my plan, and I am still hopeful that I can get the rest of the fast drafting done before those edits come back. So that's my dirty little secret for the day. Total transparency. I am not technically fast drafting Battleborn Bride at the moment. I am doing a quick reread and revision as I go. Just very minimal revision, not to the extent that I did before. I think I got through something like 5 chapters today, which is pretty good. That's a pretty quick work, you might say. So that's where I stand on my project. Like I said, I do hope that, if I'm really lucky, maybe when I do my video a week from today, I'll be able to tell you that the draft is done just before I get Restless Spirits Book 2 back again. And as I've mentioned, I'll be getting back my line edits, so we'll see how much I need to clean up that manuscript this time around. And after that, it will go into the proofing queue. So I don't think I will have a specific date that I have to get it back. Just heard a really loud noise. I'm not sure what it was. Obviously, I'm out in my sunroom, so there's not a lot of insulation in here from sound or temperatures. So I have to enjoy this room while I can, because during the heat of the summer it's too hot, and during the cold of the winter it's too cold. But anyway, so I'm hoping that my edits for Restless Spirits Book 2 will not take me very long, and I don't think I will have a specific date that I'll have to send them back for proofreading, because I think they'll be in the queue for that. So we'll see how this goes, but fingers crossed. I'm hoping that a week from today I can come to you and say that I have finished fast drafting Battleborn Bride, even though I'm not really fast drafting today. I will let you know as soon as I get back on track with that, because I still think it's the best way for me to write. And I'm a little frustrated with myself for having backslid into revising as I go. But switching between the two books just didn't work for me. So I really had to remember exactly what I was doing with the story. And in order to do that, I had to go back to the beginning because I spent so much time wrapped up in doing my edits in Restless Spirits Book 2 that I was still kind of trapped in that world. And yeah, it was a little bit too jarring. So that's where we stand. But like I said, it is a beautiful day. I did get out and get some fresh air. I wasn't feeling terrific before I went out and almost backed out of joining JT today, but I'm glad I pushed myself, because I really needed that walk to get the circulation going and enjoy a little fresh air and get some vitamin D. And like I said, I really need to get into that routine more often. I did do my hour. I use an Apple Watch, and I have it set for an hour of exercise a day. It's 12 hours of standing, an hour of exercise, and then something like 400 or 500 calories to close my 3 rings. Now, I've noticed that doing my hour of exercise doesn't get me to the 10,000 steps that I used to do when I was wearing my Fitbit. So my goal is to up my exercise so that I get back to 10,000 steps a day, because that seems to be my sweet spot. There have been times when I've done double that, 20 or 25,000 steps a day, but those are usually days when I've been at some place like Disneyland. It is so easy to get a lot of steps when you're in an amusement park. So I do need to get out and exercise more, and that, I'm sure, will help me with my writing process, because it will clear my head. It gives me good thinking time. That's one of the reasons that JT goes writing or goes walking a lot when he is writing, because it gives him a chance to mull the story that he's working on. And coincidentally, JT and I did a podcast Tuesday morning that will be posted on Sunday. And the author we were talking to also mentioned that he liked to think while he was out walking. So it seems to be a common practice for writers to do something exercise related while they're thinking. Some people actually will walk on a treadmill or a walking pad while they work, and I have not figured out how to do that. My youngest daughter did that for a very long time, and then her hips and lower back started to really bother her. But she would spend the entire day walking very slowly on her walking pad as she was writing. And I really wish I could do that, but it's just not something that I've been able to manage. I definitely need to sit down when I'm working. If I can figure out how to dictate a manuscript, maybe, but I made a quick attempt at that, and that didn't go well either. So I'm kind of stuck with the way I do things for the moment, but who knows, if I get out and exercise more often, maybe it will make it a little bit easier to at least, maybe I could dictate some notes about what I'm working on while I'm on the treadmill, because we do have one. And I also need to make sure I get out in the fresh air more often, because I think I've been spending way too much time in the house. Oh, woe is me, the life of a retiree. Oh, well, I will say that getting out in the fresh air did help improve my mood. I was feeling a little down, But this time, I don't think it was so much related to how I was feeling personally. I think it was related to what I was writing for my character. She's going through some really rough times in the story. So I think I'm channeling that a little bit. And that does happen. It actually helps me write when I'm in a similar mood to my character. It is very hard to write a sad scene if I'm in a really good mood. So um, I don't know if maybe writing the sad scene made me feel down, or I already felt down and it was helping with the sad scene. But either way, the outcome is kind of the same, that basically I'm feeling the same way, or I was feeling the same way as my character. And like I said, she's going through some rough times. She's had some tragedy in her life. And since it takes place during the Civil War, you can imagine some of the reasons why. But I'm not going to go too much into that because I don't want to give away too much of the book just yet. But I'm still looking forward to getting this out into the world, and I hope that maybe the readers will also feel a lot of what the characters are feeling, so that maybe it makes the book a little bit more relatable. I will say that in the past, I have written scenes that have made me cry, and I don't know if all authors do that, but I think a lot of authors do have a tendency to either feel very pleased by something they've written, or they will write something so sad that it does make them cry. So, um, just one of the joys of the writing life, I guess. But writing is a lot of fun, and I'm really glad to be doing it. I keep thinking that I am living my dream. I'm reminding myself of that every day. I'm in a very happy place despite having backslid on my fast drafting. I'm still in a very happy place and I'm feeling very positive about my progress. So I will continue to push forward. And like I said, I'm hoping by next Thursday I can come back and say, hey, guess what? I finished this draft. And if that's the case, maybe I'll get a chance to look it over real quick once more before I send it out to the betas and my editors. But that will depend on whether or not I have to do a lot of editing on Restless Spirits Book 2. So I don't know what I'm going to do with myself when I've got these two manuscripts under control, honestly, because I'm going to have so much more free time. And I will obviously be writing my poetry for Spooktober. And I did have some thoughts about that. I think I've come up with a kind of a spooky theme that might be a lot of fun. I was thinking I might go Nevada related. I'm not going to mention what I think I might be doing this time until I actually start doing it. But I think it could be interesting, and it could be a little bit horrifying, but not in a gory way. It just, yeah, I won't go too much farther down that road because I don't want to spoil it. But I'm looking forward to writing my Spooktober poems because poetry can be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a good exercise for me to switch gears from fiction a little bit. And while I'm doing that, I will also be revising Restless Spirits Book 3. So I'll do maybe a poem a day because I plan to write at least 31 so that I have one for each day of October. And, that won't, well, I don't know. I may not even have to do a poem a day. I could do part of a poem a day, but I will definitely be doing at least 31 poems. I haven't decided whether or not I want to do any short stories. I might stick to just poems for this year, and then maybe next year I'll do something with a short story or two. We'll see. Because I do like doing the Spooktober playlist. I did my first year, I didn't do every day in October, but it was just related to Edgar Allan Poe poems. And then the second time I did it, I kind of filled in the blanks for the poems I missed during my first round. So I'm looking forward to branching out and writing some of my own poetry kind of in the style of Edgar Allan Poe. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's funny to think about that here in April. I'm getting toward the end of April, but October is going to be here again before we know it because time just flies. So I'm going to stay on track, and I really need to be more aware of when I start my projects. Not necessarily, especially if I have deadlines like for my Spooktober playlist and for Battleborn Bride, I specifically want to do those in October. So I need to plan well in advance because I had tried to do Spooktober in August last year and that did not work out. I just did not give myself enough time. So I kind of skipped over last year's Spooktober, and that's why I'm starting much earlier this year. I'm also looking forward to playing with my typewriter again because, as much as I love computers for my writing, I think writing poetry on my typewriter is going to be a nice change and it's going to be fun. I will then later type them into my computer, of course, because I do plan to publish them at least in a little book, maybe with some art. And that's all for after I finish my current two projects, which now that I think about it, I was thinking I might be a little adrift after these two are wrapped up, but maybe not. I still have a lot of things planned. I told JT that after these two projects are wrapped up, I'll take a little bit more time to just goof off. And he said, "Sure, you will." Mm-hmm. I think he knows me. It's funny that, we both retired from, I guess, I mean, in some ways, there were stressful jobs. Mine was nowhere near as stressful as JT's, but you'd think that in retirement we'd want to be a little bit more relaxed with our days, but he's really gotten into the habit of getting up and going out to write, and I get up and I write here. So we're sticking to a pretty strict schedule, even though we don't have to. It's funny how some things you just kind of get into the habit and it's really hard to get out of them. But on the other hand, I think it is good for us to have purpose because we don't want to just kind of sit around the house and wither away either. It's good to have something to keep us occupied and to have something to look forward to when we get up in the morning. So, especially now since we can't afford to really take the trip we wanted to take, but that's another story. Anyway, now I'm just blabbering. It's been an interesting few days, but I do hope to be back on the fast drafting treadmill, I guess, here in a day or two. I did make a lot of good progress on the book today, and it is coming along well. I think what I've written so far is good. I've just been kind of tweaking a few things here and there. I was adding a few more little historic events to kind of pad things out a little bit. So going back to do that actually didn't hurt, and it's helping to make sure that I'm following my timeline, not necessarily my outline, but my timeline more closely so that it's as historically accurate as I can make it. Well, I thank you for joining me on yet another ramble through the weeds that are in my mind, which reminds me that I will be out pulling weeds tomorrow because it's gotten to the point where the two of us just can't stand them. But in the meantime, thank you again. I appreciate you hanging out with me, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow. I'm Cassidy Carson, and this is The Life of a Writer. Take care.